Hello. I'm sleep deprived.
I'm Isaac, and it's Trucks. Josh is also not wearing a shirt.
Well, of course not.
It's supposed to storm tremendously in a few hours.
I didn't know.
Yeah, no, it's promising to do the thing that it's done every couple of days again, which is why the air is like a moist carpet on top of your nose and mouth, and why Josh cannot perform simple trucking maneuvers.
That's not the reason.
Yeah,
the other thing I said is the reason for that.
That is true. And Josh, but the sleep deprivation is on account of because of the weather being so gross, I imagine.
Yes,
it's not because you're
yes.
troubled.
You're right. There is some cause and effect there.
Mm-hmm. So, what we're going to talk about today to start with is that a beautiful, wonderful thing happened to an old video of ours.
I want to tell you. This morning I woke up to a comment which reads, just a moment, it read, "The most retarded video, ultra lag, also super 80s. This was on our old Vaporwave trucks, and I was like, what is this guy talking about?
Yep.
It turned out he was thank you for your comment.
Ventity 2015?
Yes,
2015.
because it allowed me to realize that something very, very strange had happened to this old Trucks episode, the one about Vaporwave. And the best thing I can figure is that this video has been fine on YouTube servers for ages, so they must have transferred it to some long-term storage or something, and in that process it became corrupted in such a manner that the negligible differences between the codecs between different computers just cause it to look wildly different on different machines, and it has turned into this for me. I'll cut in some footage of what it looked like for me. It's this just crazy kaleidoscope of vertical bars and like decaying pixels from the top, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's the best thing.
So this is to Josh a gift.
It is. No, I'm sure a lot of people when they first saw this would have been like,
oh man,
what happened to my fucking video? But I was like, oh my god, don't refresh the page in case this is like something only I'm seeing. I need to find a way to capture this, and I was even happier to learn that it's this way for everybody.
But it's slightly different this way for everybody, which is the real icing on the cake.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna re-upload the trucks. I was able to The even weirder thing is when I just downloaded the video from YouTube, it was fine. So it's like I must have downloaded some cached version or something.
Maybe Ventity himself did this.
What if
Ventity goes to people's videos and sprinkles his special stardust on them, and then leaves impenetrable comments about Super 80s.
But it's great because I mean the visuals are kind of lovely just in their own right, but there's the obvious serendipity that it happened to. I've never seen YouTube do this before, right?
Yeah.
I've never seen it just nuke a video, and that one time I ever see this would be on the trucks, which is
about glitch aesthetics, essentially.
Yes,
which is about Vaporwave,
which is enhanced by it.
This makes me think that there's a god.
I know, dude.
Right.
It's an actual miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And the great thing is that this is the second time my computer, or a computer, in this case it's a collaboration between my computer and YouTube's server, has just made art at me without me asking it to.
Yeah.
The other time I was, like some of you know, lately I've been doing stupid glitch stuff on Instagram, and just like at one point while I was loading up a bunch of layers into Photoshop, like I this one it eludes me. I understand this much less than I understand what happened to this video. Whereas the video is showing like MPEG compression kind of laid bare.
Mm-hmm.
What happened in Photoshop was, I think, just something slipped up in my random access memory, and like the images I was working with, which were all like my own Instagram photos. Like every time I created a new layer or created a new Photoshop document, my computer just spat out a collage of my own work back at me. And so it was. That also felt like a gift, right? It was my computer reinterpreting my work for me. It was like, oh, I see you're trying to do some glitchy stuff. Well, here you go. Mm-hmm. Just and this is wonderful. This has been my interest in the past year, and it's just the strangest thing that after I got interested in this kind of thing, like computers making art, they just started doing it.
Yeah. I guess you just open your eyes and your big heart and, put them in a position where they can fuck up, and suddenly spontaneous generation, like frogs out of mud.
I guess.
Here comes the art. Of course, you're helping it along by contextualizing it.
Yeah, I guess.
Appreciating it and framing it.
Like,
it's a collaboration between the computer and you. Right?
Yeah, totally. Like, some of it is just like, I'm watching a YouTube video and I notice that there's like 2 frames in there of some completely computer-generated image, and I'm like, oh, I'll save that. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, this does not account for what happened to the YouTube video. Like,
yeah, what happened to the YouTube video is providential, or possibly a sign of the singularity. Yeah. An emerging, deeply ironic intelligence in the massive server farm that Google manages.
Yeah.
Which would be the place where it would happen.
Yeah.
There you go. Deep dreaming, yeah. This is evidence of deep dreaming.
You think someone just like passed a powerful electromagnet over a YouTube server farm, and like now there's
as a piece of protest, as a piece of art?
I mean, who knows?
It was probably Vented 215.
The most retarded video. Ultra lag, also Supper 80s.
Supper 80s, man.
I want to know what Vented saw, I want to see screenshots of his experience.
I mean, some folks, I asked people to send in screenshots of their experience, and at least one person did.
Yeah, and I liked it.
It was very nice. Thank you, Waterwarp.
He mentioned seeing a face in one of the images, which I could not make out at all. But,
there you go. That's a collaboration between himself and YouTube.
Exactly. That's part of the magic here. I love computer art. It's my favorite thing, and it's hard to talk about. Like, Idea Channel did an episode on this subject recently.
Can computers make art?
Can computers make art? And we're talking about Markov chains, and we're talking about
and the comments were full of nuh-uh.
No. Art is all about feelings, and computers don't have feelings. But whenever
show me your feelings.
Whenever the masses are saying this falls outside of my definition of art, it's probably
good shit.
It's probably the best art we've got right now.
Good shit.
Yeah. And geez,
little okay signs.
And in my this, I've been listening to a lot of Autechre lately, and I promise I won't go on about Autechre too much.
Autechre in this track.
No, I have to though, because this Autechre is the whole thing that got me into this inquiry. Mm-hmm. Forever I've appreciated video games because they seemed to me to be the one artistic medium that directly talks back to you, if you know what I mean. But it's occurred to me over the past year that ain't true. You can do that with other things. You can do it with music, and you can do it with images.
Yep.
And Isaac's looking at his phone.
God damn it! I'm looking up the things I'm going to talk about in 5 minutes. Okay, don't fuck up the rotation.
I'm sorry. It's intimidating. It makes me think I'm not being listened to.
I'm trying to. There's his name. Okay. Now I would have been smooth and been like I had remembered that without having to look it up. But now the whole people know. The whole people know that I am also stupid. Anyway, please continue. I was trying to be smooth.
But no, it's collaboration with an alien intelligence is what it is. And if that's not the coolest thing in the world, then you're a chump.
Cool.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, that is absolutely correct. Now I suppose I should talk about the thing that I was planning to talk about as soon as you ran out of gas on that subject. But now that the whole process has been laid bare, I feel so self-conscious about what would otherwise have been a pretty neat segue, I'd like to think. So I was in D.C. This last weekend visiting my friend Maverick Ornithography. And one of the things that Maverick Ornithography was able to do was she was able to show me her favorite piece of art in the entire world.
Yeah.
Which is...
Oh my.
Which is which is an awesome thing to be able to do, and it helps to live near the Smithsonian, which is full of some pretty excellent art. And her favorite piece of art in the world is by an artist named Namjoon Pak. Have you heard of Namjoon Pak?
I've heard the name. I can't bring the work to mind.
So Namjoon Pak likes to work with TVs
I think I actually saw an exhibition. But go on.
Yeah. Namjoon Paik likes to work with a lot of TVs at once.
Yeah.
And the probably the most famous one of his works is a work which involves a neon outline of the United States with separate video feeds in all of the states of various other things that are happening, which is called something. But I'm really... It's called... Yeah, it's called something. It's hang on. It's called you see, it's called Electronic Superhighway Continental U.S. Alaska Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Good title.
I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah. But that wasn't the favorite piece of art. The favorite piece of art is another piece of art who's not notable enough to be mentioned in this particular part of the Wikipedia article, and whose name I don't remember because I'm an idiot.
Well, that's fine.
Which you put on blast before, but maybe probably have been clear by this point.
Maybe I'll put the title on the screen if you can come up with it.
Yeah, I'm absolutely certain that I can. But it was glorious.
Oh yeah,
I can tell you.
Can you describe it?
Yeah, it was a bank of TVs up on a wall, and it was cycling between a tremendous number of different images and video feeds.
Yeah.
And everything was changing and circling and spiraling, and then it kept happening for a long period of time, and like extremely weird, chirpy, distorted Korean pop music was playing while this was happening.
Sweet.
And it was the size of an entire wall of a rather large room, and it was very dark, except you turn the corner and there it was. It was just meant to be a full sensory overload. It looked like it was something that had been made this decade. It was from the 90s. It was on CRT televisions, and the CRT televisions were starting to die, which is the other thing. And the thing that I want to mention is because the way that patina develops on oil paint, the way that crackling around the edges starts to develop on oil paint, this thing was beginning to age into itself.
Yeah.
Because the ways in which various TVs had gone weird on the contrast, and the ways in which various TVs were not even working correctly at all, contributed, I feel, tremendously to the overall gestalt of the thing. And it's not, interactive or iterative, but it's decay.
Yeah.
Which is where me doing this art is where I feel that I'm the most interested. I've always avoided doing this kind of art digitally. I always prefer to do this kind of art
in an
analog way, using machines that fuck with electricity via methods that I don't understand, but which are all about twiddling dials.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We should put a link, actually. I'm going to send you, like, one of the more weirdo home recordings I used to do, where I was just playing with all of my equipment and making a sound slab out of it, and then reading stories on top of it, basically.
This reminds me of how do you feel about this work of art? I have a feeling you've heard of it. The Disintegration Loops by William Basinski.
Oh yeah. See, Dunk and I reviewed that album.
Yeah.
During our project where we interviewed the best of Pitchfork.
Not liking it. I don't remember reading this.
We both hated it.
You both hated it.
We both hated it.
Yeah.
And I feel like I probably hated it for completely different reasons that Dunk did.
Yeah.
But maybe they were congruent.
Why'd you hate it?
Well, Dunk hated it because he despises pretension.
Sure. And it is kind of pretentious. I can't deny it.
And I hated it because I could have done it.
Yeah. Well, okay. You could have done it. That is a.
This was almost 10 years ago that I wrote this review.
I see. I thought this was on the more recent blog.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
this is almost 10 years ago, and
yeah.
I was still in my mid-20s at that point.
Yeah.
And I still had a fractious relationship with what the world was and what my place in it was.
Fair enough.
I had a lot of resentment to people who were making art that I found facile.
Obvious.
And it seemed to me that the clearest explanation for why Basinski was putting this stuff out was that he had the cojones and the self-esteem to pretend that this was worthwhile.
In a way, that's true, right? Like the guy does, the way he presents it does kind of give an inflated sense of his own importance in the process. Like, and the chords he chooses, are a little too what's the word I'm looking for? Mawkish?
Magisterial.
Yeah, for my taste.
Well, I mean, but therein hangs the thing. That is what a artist who is temporally successful has to do.
It's
right?
true.
He would not be able to make a living doing what he does if he did not couch things in those terms.
Yeah, and the other thing about the chords is that like that's incidental, right? If the backstory behind that piece of music is true, like those loops were written for another purpose, and it just so happened that he noticed that.
Yeah, but I'm talking. But the chords and the sort of artist statement and the narrative that surrounds it are all of a piece. Right?
It's definitely true.
And if some of it was accidental, then he certainly knew how to curate it into a form that could get its hooks into you and make you feel deep.
Yeah.
Which I resisted with all of my might. And it's like, I would say that is a good piece of art if you don't record it. That's a good piece of art if you just play it in front of an audience once while it happens, and that's it. Then it's a good piece of art. It, as a recorded entity, it's self-indulgent.
I guess I could see that. On the other hand, though, I'm glad it exists because there's actually parts of it I find extremely nice to listen to, and I don't know,
it's like
he had the idea, and the idea is on the record now, and it wouldn't be on the record as much if he didn't do it. It's an unfortunate ploy to. It's definitely a ploy to historicity.
Yeah, but I would also like it a lot better if it was less famous than it was.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm gonna just put it out there.
Yeah.
If he had no audience and had done it anyway, and had not doubled down on the importance of what he was doing, it would be much easier to enjoy as a pure aesthetic experience.
It's true.
It's sort of the opposite of Metal Machine music.
Yeah.
Metal Machine music is partially is enjoyable on an aesthetic level to me, but is also has added enjoyment when you know that it's a giant fuck you to his recording industry, and he keeps pretending that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Or to his recording industry. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You've heard Metal Machine music or parts of it?
Probably.
Lou Reed Feedback Fest.
Yeah.
Definitely worth
that one.
Definitely worth just sitting down and listening to all the way through.
Yeah. The reason this Basinski has been on my mind is because with what I've been doing on Instagram, basically, I do like a few different things on my Instagram, but the most common thing and the easiest thing I do is just pick a few filters on Instagram to turn up all the way, and then take a screen cap and turn them up all the way again, and keep doing that until I stop thinking that it's looking more interesting.
Yes.
And, absolutely anyone can do that. I started doing it because I kind of saw other people doing it and thought, cool, I want to take part in that. And, but I was quickly accused by multiple parties of, believing I was doing something original and important and pretentious and, the whole thing. Whereas I feel like at no point did I say that I thought that even what I was doing was a particularly good iteration of it. It was something I was doing because
for your own pleasure.
Yes, because I liked the results and I thought they were worth sharing. And in a way, they allow me to express myself in a way that I hadn't been able to before.
This is fine, but it's like you're framing.
Sure.
Like the it's almost as though the very stark background of your Instagram page and the way that they're all laid out there, like they're in an exhibition, implies, even though you haven't written an artist statement, that there is an artist statement, if you know what I mean.
I could write an artist statement. I do think there's something interesting there.
It might be worthwhile to try to seize that context and maybe even to deflate it a little bit and see if that allows people to be more comfortable interacting with it,
Right.
Because I find that, at least with me, my default tone is standoffish and superior.
Sure.
When I make things, even if that's not what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And sometimes putting the jokes in one way or another helps communicate where you're actually coming from.
That's interesting. What is my GPS telling me to do right now, dude?
Wow.
Glitch art.
No, you're going in the wrong direction. You have been for some time. It wants you to turn around.
For some time?
Yeah.
But I was following the red line until it took me to this exit, which is
I think you got on 19 going the wrong direction, my friend.
Seriously?
Yeah.
I'll have to review the tape.
Well, you're gonna.
Looks like I can do a U-turn here.
Yep.
But no, the thing is, I love the way, like, turning all those filters up kind of exposes the way the camera actually perceives information.
Yeah.
And simplifies it in a way which is almost invisible until you exaggerate it to that extent. And my favorite thing is, like, I haven't uploaded anything like this way, but if you take screen caps of other people's Instagram uploads and do the same process to them, you can see that, like, depending on the camera they're using, the ultimate effect is entirely different. And I just want to see more people do it, you know? Like,
yeah,
I want...
Once again, share your screenshots, right?
Right, yeah. Like, it's so... The fact that it's so easy to do, much like Vaporwave, is part of the value, I think.
Well, I think that you definitely should put that out there and mix it in with what you're doing so that, you know... I think that's an interesting and a noble intent. No, you weren't even supposed to get off here.
Fascinating.
I think there's like a certain noble intentionality to that.
Sure. I mean, the way I expressed that was by sending people glitched out versions of their own photos. A few people responded positively. That other people were silent and probably creeped out.
Did you not say anything when you did this? You just did it?
I know. I said things like, "Hey, this produces a totally different effect on your camera," and you know.
Yeah. Who knows? Building a community is such a mystery, man. Trying to actually communicate, which is great. A great thing about doing art with computers is that you know exactly where the computer is coming from.
The answer is nowhere.
Yep,
that's the best thing.
I'd like to pretend that I come from nowhere. It's just very difficult.
Sure, you can't come from nowhere, but a computer can, and that's why they're the best artists.
There's no question of authenticity, therefore everything is authentic.
Completely. Like, something I talked with my friend about in high school a lot was how the best art is that which is great by accident, and that's the only thing computers can make.
That's true, because there's no way that they meant to do that.
Right.
You know. I think, and it's like you have to be able, and I guess part of the artist statement that you or I would have to do would be to convince people that you didn't mean to do that.
That I meant to do it.
Well, I mean, but it didn't come from a considered place, right? It comes from a place of impulse, curiosity, joy.
A little bit. After a while, it becomes more considered. Like I start to kind of document. I'm going to write a blog post about this eventually, but I kind of start documenting my inner mythology a little bit, and also just taking pictures that I think will look particularly interesting when put through the process.
Yeah, but once again, it's like it's more that there's no. You're not trying to prove a point.
Right.
It's all about structures and systems, and you're trying to be like the thing that is putting together images from patterns of light.
Yes.
Just in harmony with the dumb lens.
Yes. But I mean, I'm so glad I'm doing it because it has like activated my senses in a way. Like when I first started using Instagram, this kind of happened to me. I started looking for composition in the world around me.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which is kind of the fun thing about photography. But like this just took that to the next level. Like I'm not even stoned, and I'm just watching the lights on my ceiling. Like, oh, you know, this is a limitless source of beauty. I think I could be pretty happy being, you know, in Plato's cave. You know.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I hate to wrench the conversation around to me again.
Sure.
This is actually mostly Josh Trucks, but but I do want to talk a little bit about the piece of music that I'm going to have us link here.
Yeah.
When I started doing more samplewood stuff and like taking around a really bad tape record, like a digital recorder with me, and getting really noisy and clumpy things of everything, I did begin to hear like the beat and everything.
Yeah.
As it were, you know.
It's what John Cage writes about. You know, that
he would prefer to just sit in his apartment on 3rd Avenue with the window open and listen to the street, and that's the best music he could possibly have because it is utterly unrepetitive and utterly responsive.
Yeah, and he's completely right. You know, I admire him a lot.
The ideal viewer of art is a person who does not interact with an artist at all.
I mean, yeah, like, and the thesis statement for John Cage as an artist is, you know, beauty surrounds us. We are just awash in it, and you know what's better than that?
I mean, and this is like, This is what I value, and like, you know, we're talking about, you know, people who are throwing dice, or, you know, computers that are doing what they think is their job.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a thing about artists also, and about artists that I've known who are artists, like, not who are likely to be successful at art, but who are artists.
Yeah.
Is that it's just like the operation of a gland.
Mm.
It's like the operation of an organ.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm alive, therefore I'm drawing. You know?
Yeah.
The contents of the drawing are the result of what is on my mind, but the result of on my mind is utterly unguided.
Yeah.
In that sense. You know? I am taking the world and processing it via a biological process that is unique to me, but is not in any way important.
Yeah.
More important than shitting, you know? And it's just... And I like looking at what those people make.
Do you think I meant to take this turn, or...?
I think you meant to go straight, because that says you are.
I guess so, but...
Go straight.
Okay.
Go straight and then turn right.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. You're right. This W.
Yeah, you got to go to the W. Here in Sierra Vista.
The other piece of news,
Oh yeah?
speaking of finding things buried inside of computers, is that I found the Ico Let's Play, and I'm going to upload that real soon.
Yep.
The ending of it is in one 90-minute chunk. I'm really excited. I listened to it. It's 3 episodes worth. It's 2 recording sessions, one of which in which we are super goofy and make, I think, like, the funniest we've maybe ever been on this channel, actually. And I'm stuck right now. Do you remember, like, this?
I barely remember it.
Like, the one running gag we had in that recording session is the word "dicky." Do you remember?
I don't remember this at all. This
Like,
is
that's really dicky. Like, let's be dicky.
no memory whatsoever. So this is going to be fun. This is going to
Yeah.
be like listening to a stranger that is also me.
Yeah.
You know what the thing about that strikes me is that you and I have been friends long enough, but doing this long enough that there are things that we've done that have passed into history.
Yeah.
All without us ever getting famous.
I know.
It just seems like an oversight, you know?
It's not fair. I'm the best glitch artist who ever lived.
I'm the best.
Isaac
like,
is...
Yes.
Isaac is Isaac.
Yeah,
Isaac
yeah.
is singular.
Yeah. Oh man, unfortunately.
Let's park this truck in one go. Without even going into third person. Where am I? Oh. It's good enough, you jerks.
So unfair.
This is what happens when computers are in charge.
The computer is imposing its aesthetic values upon you.
There we go.
There you go.
That was a smooth little fix.
Beautiful. Lowering trailer legs. Decoupling. Much like we were about to from your ears. Good night, everybody.
Goodbye.
I hope that one's super glitched out.
Oh, man.